Now on your feed at 5, another warning about the Delta variant that is spreading faster than first thought.
Yeah, this mutation of COVID-19 is not only spreading faster, health officials say it's also causing more severe disease than the other circulating mutations. Senior health correspondent Monica Robbins is here now. Monica, what can you tell us about this Delta variant? Sounds scary.
Let me give you a little science lesson first.
Okay.
So virus mutations are random accidents. They're not intentional changes by the virus itself. But the more people infected by the virus, the more often it will mutate. So while some countries are still waiting on an adequate vaccine supply, the more easily that virus can continue to replicate and mutate. Now, Vox did a great explainer of variants and why there's concern.
There are 4 variants health officials are watching. The most recent, Delta variant, is known as a double mutant because it has 2 significant changes found in other variants. One makes it spread easier, but the other makes it easier for Delta to infect people who've already had COVID-19. We know the vaccines give us stronger immunity compared to natural infection, which is why everyone is encouraged to get vaccinated, whether they've had COVID or not.
However, this variant represents a set of mutations that could lead to future mutations that evade our vaccine. And that's why it's more important than ever to get vaccinated now to stop the chain of infection, the chain of mutations that could lead to a more dangerous variant.
Okay, Jay, here's the good news that you were just asking about. Yes, our vaccines are effective against the Delta variant, but about 88% effective. However, it is becoming the predominant variant much more quickly than anticipated, and that's the concern everyone has.
All right, what does that mean? I know it's a concern because it is duplicating or whatever quicker than the others. Why is that a concern for us, though?
Well, let me give you an example. Just in the past 2 weeks, it has doubled in prevalence. So you may recall it took the UK variant, now known as the Alpha variant, about 3 to 4 months before it became the most prevalent. Well, this is like doubling. It'll get to be the most predominant variant in the US probably within the next 6 weeks, if not less.
So again, if you haven't been vaccinated, it's just another reason that you really need to do it. Not just for you, but this is still a public health crisis.
It really is. We're not out of the pandemic by any means, even though for a lot of people it feels like it. It is definitely a concern. And for the unvaccinated, what we also know is that the Delta variant does cause more severe disease.
Wow.
So that's another huge concern.
Meaning you're more likely to have symptoms and be sick.
Get really sick, yeah.
Wow.
That's good information and a great warning.
Yeah.
That's what people need to be aware of. It's nothing, none of this was ever anything to mess around with.
Sure.
We felt like, we're in that easy summertime chill right now. Yeah, it's time to at least keep thinking about it and get serious.
All right, very good. Monica, thanks. We appreciate it.